have $40,000 in credit card debt.
Buddy, you can't afford to live. You're putting things on debt. You did not need this many brand new pieces of clothes.
Are those the new YSL loafers?
Yeah.
Yo, since when did you get those?
Actually, I'm doing 90 interest-free payments of $10 every month.
In 2024, Americans owe over $5 trillion in consumer debt, and a huge chunk of that comes from what's hanging in your closet. Because fast fashion isn't a cheap clothing business model, it's a psychological weapon. And you're not wearing clothes anymore, you're wearing debt. Fast fashion is a system designed to trap broken consumers in a cycle of emotional spending. They market freedom, but sell you financial dependency. And you might think, it's just $7, who cares? But multiply that by 52 weeks in a year, and factor in debt and interest from buy now, pay later or credit cards, and you've just spent over $1,000 on clothes you'll wear 3 times, if that. Let's break down these numbers. A $20 item 3 times a month is $60 a month. Add Klarna or Afterpay with late fees, add an average late fee of $7 and 3 missed payments. That's annual waste of $720 on clothes, $252 in fees, which is $972 a year, plus interest if they hit you with a credit card, which APR is up to 23%. Therefore, you didn't just spend $972, you potentially lost $1,200 in a year chasing a look. You know what else cost $1,200? A round trip to Europe, 3 months of groceries, and a business LLC, and an eBay store. But instead, you bought clothes that shrink, fade, and fall apart after 2 washes. This isn't cheap, this is disguised debt. Here's what the fashion industry understands better than you do. Temporal discounting. We crave now over later, right? So we have a pain of paying. So we would rather spread $20 into 5 trunks. That way we have less of a financial pain rather than spending that money all at once. So what happens is they create artificial urgency. They have low stock, 48-hour drops. It's all fake. When in actuality, they have pre-selected default. They want you to use Klarna, they want you to use Afterpay, and the buttons are already marked and they're already checkmarked and brightened just to make you use them. Because at the end of the day, they make more money when you're in debt than they do when they just get your cold hard cash. So the truth is, they aren't selling fashion, they're selling impulse, and you're buying them in 4 payments. Regardless of all of that, let's talk about waste. 92 million tons of textile waste is dumped globally every year. That's a garbage truck of clothes dumped every second. In the United States alone, 85% of all textiles end up in landfills. And most fast fashion items take 200 years to decompose. So textiles is clothes and shoes. All of it that we are buying as consumers end up in the garbage anyways. The fashion industry doesn't care where it ends up, it just cares that you purchase them. So now basically you're not just broke, you're just funding an environmental crisis on a $1 shirt or crop top, jeans, or even shoes. It doesn't matter. This is what's happening with all of the items that you're purchasing. The fashion industry does a great job at programming. If you search vintage on Google or TikTok, it's one of the top trending keywords. But here's the kicker. Fast fashion copies vintage. They recreate 80s and 90s styles with cheaper fabric, lower quality, and inflated margins. Real vintage, it lasts. Fake vintage, it fades. And guess who makes the most off of the confusion? The big brands. I'm 19 years old and I'm sitting right now here in my warehouse. And I started reselling because I was tired of being broke with a full closet. I flipped my first Goodwill haul at 17. Now I've sold over 35,000 items on eBay. Not because I'm a genius, but because I figured out this trap and I flipped it into a business. The same system they use to drain your money, I use to build mine. But let's break down this consumer debt crisis. Let's go more macro. Over 60% of Gen Z adults use buy now, pay later services. 28% of users miss at least one payment. And 63% of users have multiple buy now, pay later loans stacked at one time. Now, combine that with all the fashion trends dropping every week, and you've got a compounding financial crisis chasing after you. At the end of the day, you're not shopping, you're loan stacking. But here's the part that nobody tells you. every single piece of clothing you buy is either an asset or a liability. Fast fashion equals a liability. It drains your account, clogs your closet, and adds zero long-term value. But once you understand how the resale market works, you start to see clothes differently. You stop asking what's trending and start asking what retains value. And that's the shift. And that shift is super powerful. If you want to start winning and start taking control of how you spend your money and what you wear, what I would do is I would literally start reselling. Because when you resell, you basically get all your clothes for free. You're already at the bins, you're already thrifting, and all you have to do is find items you can sell and profit off of, and also find items that you can wear and keep for yourself. Now, the difference between profiting off of items you find at the thrift and big companies profiting off of trendy items is that the items that you thrift are minutes away from going to the dump, minutes away from getting burned and disintegrated, never being seen again. So as resellers, we're actually helping the environment. We're saving quality clothes from getting burned and allowing customers to have a second chance at buying an item that they'll truly value and that will truly last them a long time, compared to buying a cheap item from a big company, a big fashion company, and having an item that's only going to last 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 washes. So if you want to take control of how you spend money and how you look and what you wear, I would definitely start reselling. I'm 19 years old and I operate this huge 3,000 square foot warehouse. So if you've been reselling for a long time now and you haven't been getting progress, click the link down below and watch my training, because I've gone through every trial and error. And to get to the point where I've sold 35,000 items and I've done $400,000 plus in revenue, it took a lot out of me. So if you want to save that time and don't want to have to go through the same things that I went through, click the link down below and see if my training can help you.